Hi, welcome to the Online Jewelry Academy. I'm Professor John Ahr and I'm your instructor. Today I'm going to show you how to make half of an earring. Not half of a pair of earrings, but literally half an earring. Now, why am I doing that? Well, I want to show you the finer intricacies of how to make findings. And you're like, what's a finding? Well, back in the day of kings and queens, when the royal jeweler would have to remake, say, an ear wire for the queen's earring, he would dig through all kinds of stuff that he'd already made for other projects in order to find the element that he needed to replace what was broken or missing. So that's why we pick up the term findings. Today, you can easily buy findings at any commercial bead store or jewelry supply company or even online. They look something like this. Now these over here, these are lever back ear wires, and this is a French ear wire. I'm going to show you how to make a French ear wire in another video. Today we're going to focus on the meat of the earring, the bottom part of it, and I'm going to focus on findings like these, headpins. Now this is one that looks more like a nail than anything else. It has a flat part at the bottom that has a wire sticking out of it. And that's to give a natural stop to where a bead should go. If you look up here, you can see how these earrings, which are from another video that we have on using epoxy resin in projects, a more complicated earring, but you can see how the bottom uses this type of a head pin to stop this big bead, and I have the same one in the project we're going to make today. Now, the other head pin is one with a loop on it. And that loop is for making a connection. They're great and they're fun to do. So let's get started making them. And I'm going to get ready by putting on my apron. And if you forgot my name, it's right there, Professor John Ahr. And besides protecting my body and clothing when I make jewelry, I also like to protect my eyes. You only have two of them, and an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. You don't want to get anything in your eyes that's going to cause a big medical bill. So get geared up. Okay, let me show you some of the other supplies that we're going to use today. Now, over here I have the actual tools that you're going to use. I've got a set of pliers that includes a pair of diagonal cutters. You can buy these online or at any supply store for a few dollars, and they'll include the diagonal cutters, chain nose pliers, flat nose pliers, and the round nose or rosary pliers. Fancy. And mine are all striped and pretty. There's another video on this in our bench tips and tricks that talks about wire loop consistency and how you can apply pretty stripes to your pliers too. I also have up here an emery board, not to sit here and do my nails, but why buy a file or pay for something expensive when you can just use what's lying around the house? And I also have another video on how to make your own sanding sticks, because basically that's just sandpaper on a stick. I also have two types of wire. I got some beautiful 20 gauge round sterling silver wire, and I've got some 20 gauge copper wire. Why copper wire? You need to practice. You got to get good at this. Before you sell your product to your friends, your family, or a stranger through some website, you want to make sure that you've got something beautiful and consistent to sell. So you're going to practice with this, but don't wear it. Don't sell the copper, because if you put copper through an ear hole, you're going to rot somebody's ear off. It'll give you a nasty infection. So practice with the copper and then graduate to the beautiful sterling silver. The first step that we want to do is to cut off a length of wire from the sterling silver loop. And I've already done that. There's mine right there. The next step is I'm going to pick up the square nose pliers, and I'm going to pick up my length of wire, and I'm going to position it about a ½ inch from the top of the wire. Then all I'm going to do is just push that wire over, and I'm going to make a right angle bend. That's the first step, really easy. What you're going to do next is pick up the pliers again and grab tightly underneath that little right angle and give it a bend around. I just want it to go around once. I want to go in a spiral around the wire itself one time. Now, if your fingers aren't very strong, you could hold this with your other hand, pick up another pair of pliers, and you could just help finesse that little bit of wire all the way around, just like that, until you get it to be a little tiny spiral. Now what I'm going to do is I want to get rid of the excess. I don't want that little thing sticking out. That could hit somebody in the neck and cause some pain. So I'm going to take this, and here's where the eye protection comes in. I don't want Grandpa's toenail hitting me in the eye. So I'm going to clip it, and ooh, I saved my little piece of silver right there. Save the scraps. It's money. You should keep them in a little tin. They're good for sending back to the refiner to get some money back out of them. All right, I've got my little loop or my spiral on the end of my wire, but it's sharp from being cut. So I'm going to take the emery board and I'm just going to do a little bit of filing, just like you do your nails. It's not going to be obvious, so don't worry about it not being as shiny as the rest of it. Now what I can do is I can pick up the bottom bead and place it on the ear wire. And look, it stops. Perfect. Let me stop here for a second and mention I've got other beads over here. You can use any shape you want to use. Just be sure that they fit onto your 20 gauge round silver wire. Okay, I'm ready to make the connector that's going to allow this to connect to the bead up top. All I have to do is just hold that bead in between my fingers and just pull the wire over. In other words, I'm making another right angle bend, just like that. That bead's kind of dark, so I'm holding it over here so you can see it a little better. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up my beautiful, they smell good, they have children's scented nail polish on them. It's kind of like sniffing markers. Anyway, I'm going to get under there with the blue line that's kind of in the middle of the pliers. So I want to be consistent with the size, so I'm going to remember blue line. And what I want to do is I'm going to pull up, okay, and then I'm going to pull the wire or the pliers away from the wire and step up, but go right back into the blue, and then I'm going to go looping around and underneath and give it a nice tug. Magical things happen with a little tug. Okay, so there we go, just like that. Your next step is to take your diagonal cutters and you want to snip inside of the loop. Okay, and there it is right there. It's ready to be attached to the next element. Okay, let's make the next element, but let's talk about it for a second. See this bead right here? It's got a connector on each side. Those connectors allow you to make linkages. So this leads to the possibility of maybe a necklace or a bracelet. Okay, these linkages are really easy to make. Pick up your round nose pliers. Remember, we're working in that blue line again. Pinch the end of the wire in the jaws of the plier at the blue line and just start to turn. Now, if you get this far, just loosen up your grip, turn back, keep turning, but turn past the end of the wire. I don't know if the camera can pick that up, but right there. See how I've gone past the end of the wire. Okay, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to pick up the pliers, and at the very tip, I'm going to go right to where that wire touches itself and pull up. And you can see if I lay it next to the the commercial ones, we have a little noose. You could hang a little tiny ant with that, I guess. Okay, now we're ready to drop our feature bead onto the wire. And look, it magically stops right there because of that connector. But you're going to need one at the top as well to connect to your ear wire. Guess what? I've already shown you how to do it. It's super easy. Just hold the bead, pull over, make a right angle, pick up your rosary pliers or your round nose pliers again, and I'm being consistent. I'm using the blue line. And I'm going to pull up, I'm going to step up, go back to the blue line, and go underneath and around. And there's that nice little turn. Now I pick up my diagonal cutters, and I'm going to clip inside of the loop, just at the very bottom, just like that. Okay, so basically our two beads are ready to be put together. What I like to do is I like to take a pair of pliers and just sort of make sure that all the loops are nice and straight and that everything's closed up. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to reopen one of the loops. Now, don't open up like this. If you go like that with your wire, you're never going to get it back to being round again. So you want to open it like that. Get it? Like a ballerina. Okay, so I'm going to take a pair of pliers. I'm going to open up that loop a little bit. And then I'm going to pick up the other bead, put it on, and then just close the loop. It's that easy. Well, now I have the bottom of an earring. And I can't wear it, and neither can you. Nobody can. So you're going to have to tune back in and watch the second video that tells you how to make the ear wires. Remember, I need my numbers to get big. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Also, you can visit our Facebook page and post some of the images of the projects that you've been making. I'd love to see what you're doing. And check out our other projects and videos on the onlinejewelryacademy.com. Thanks for watching.